5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, Shagheads, Buzzheads, and Zoinkers. It is Curtis Tucker, a.k.a. Shags, the host of the Curtis Tucker Podcast, back for another episode. Appreciate you guys checking in. You guys can hit me up at shags@shaggyduck.com or curtis@curtistucker.com. Be sure and visit curtistucker.com. That is the blog. Each one of these podcast episodes has a corresponding blog post and video to it. And if you're watching the video, there's a corresponding audio podcast. All of those will be on the same page on curtistucker.com. So be sure and go there and check that out. I am in the Shaggy Duck studio. I've got my Shaggy Duck t-shirt on. If you guys are wanting to buy one. So just a little warning that the weather is great here in Oklahoma. So I have the window and the door wide open. I've got kind of one of those magnetic screens over the door. So it keeps the bugs out, but it doesn't keep the barking dogs and the chirping birds from around the neighborhood sound from coming in. And then we've also got planes and trains and automobiles. So I apologize for some of the background noise, but I would rather have some of that fun background noise, especially for this episode, than to just have a closed up, silent space. So let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. I was kind of thinking that I needed to have a positive episode, something fun and positive and inspiring, motivating, and all that because of all the negativity and things going on. And the other day I was eating lunch and I came out of the restaurant that I was eating at, went through the parking lot, hopped in the Jeep, turned the Jeep on, and one of my all-time favorite songs was on the radio. And I thought, man, it's going to be a great day. And that got me thinking, oh, wow, it's pretty cool that in my mind, I can think to myself that it's going to be a great day just because I heard one of my favorite songs randomly on the radio. Now, you may be saying or thinking, well, why don't you just have a playlist or plug your phone in and play your favorite song anytime you want? And my answer is because that's not how it works. This is kind of a karma, kismet, kind of a unexpected surprise. You don't expect your favorite song to be on the radio when you jump into your Jeep, randomly. And so it's that randomness, that surprise, that kind of makes it fun and makes it feel like it's kind of meant to be, or that it's a good sign for the day. So I thought, well, what other fun little surprises like that can make my day brighter? And I thought, well, let me come up with my list. I'm sure at least half of my list is probably your list, but I'll have maybe a few that maybe you'll hear and you'll think, oh, wow, maybe I'll, investigate that or do that or concentrate or try to, see if I can pay more attention to that and make your days brighter. So what I did was I came up with 50. So these are 50 surprising joys that will brighten your day. And probably 90% of these are kind of generic, like almost anybody can enjoy any one of these. And then there's probably about 10% that are specific to me or just a small group of people. But I wanted to throw them in there because I think we all need our own little joys that not everybody else experiences. So what I want you guys to do, which you guys have done, and I know a lot of you leave your messages over on our 70s Buzz phone, which is fine, or you could text 580-977-9947 or email those two emails that I told you earlier. Let me know either some of the things that bring unexpected brightness to your day that I left off of my list, or specific things for you that pretty much might only happen to you and not everybody else, and let me know what those are, because I would love to. And so, like I said, this is going to be on the Curtis Tucker blog, so I could always have a section under this of more. So if you guys send me in yours, I can make that list longer, and then it can just continue to grow. And then when you guys, a year from now or months from now, when you guys are needing a little pep, you can go to that blog post and read all over those and all that good stuff. So let's jump into it. And again, number one was when you get into your vehicle and let's say, one of your top 10 favorite songs is on the radio. And then, what's even cooler is when you take off and you drive somewhere and the song lasts until the moment you stop and you're ready to get out of your car. I mean, that's like the double bonus, brightest. You're definitely going to have a good day if that happens. And so now I'm going to go through the other 49, and these are in no particular order. So I'm just going to kind of randomly go through them, maybe give you a little more detail about some of them. Some of them, I'm just going to read them off to you. So here we go. This one I think everybody will agree with is when you put on a jacket or a coat and you find a $20 bill in the pocket. And, that goes for jeans or shorts that you haven't worn since last summer. Just finding that unexpected money in one of your pockets is pretty cool. And it just kind of gives you that feeling of, oh, it's going to be a good day. I found something I wasn't expecting. I've got extra money to spend on something. So kind of a cool deal. Number 3, I think a lot of us, we drive places like here in Enid, some of our favorite restaurants are on the west side of town. And that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe there are 6 lights from my house to, let's say, Whataburger, which is probably right now the furthest west restaurant you can go to. So what makes it a great day, surprising joy sometimes? It's when, especially now, it's a bright day when you drive out there and you hit every green light or like 5 out of 6 green lights. But what's super double fantastic is when you get your food and it's hot and you hit every green light coming back and you make it home in like 4 minutes. I mean, that's gold right there. Number 4, you're kind of sitting around and you're thinking, I got some stuff to do tonight. What am I going to do tonight? What am I going to watch on TV? And then it dawns on you, it's the day of your favorite TV show. It's coming on that night and you kind of have forgotten. So I always think that's kind of a cool deal, is to wake up and think, oh, okay, tonight my favorite reality show is on, or my favorite sitcom is on, or a movie that I've been waiting to see is released, or something like that. So that just, a lot of times that helps brighten your day or pep up your day. Number 5, you wake up, you're thinking, today would be like today. I woke up and I thought, it's kind of a light blue, summery, warm shorts kind of day. Sure would be cool to wear my light blue Shaggy Duck t-shirt. One of the surprising joys is when you get up and the thing that you in your mind were thinking of wearing is clean and it's right there ready for you to wear for the day. Freshly washed, smells great. It's got the dryer freshener smell to it, and you don't have to iron it. That makes it even better, is when it's freshly cleaned and it's not wrinkled. I mean, talk about, that's another double joy. I hope you guys are getting all these double joys. Let's see, what else we got? Number 6. Yep, number 6. you've got a to-do list either on the computer, or I keep a lot of to-do lists on little scraps of paper. Even sometimes I'll be hit with like, dang, I've got to do like 7 things and I don't want to forget them. So I'll write the 7 things on the back of an envelope. And then as I do them, I cross them out. So I'll know. What's a surprising joy is when you think, uh-oh, what do I got to do? And you pick up that list and it's at 0. All of the things are crossed out. Man, that's a good feeling. Always fun, good feeling. How about when you've got that dreaded 1 hour meeting? For me, it's like I got to go meet with somebody and talk about something that I know we could have worked everything out over email, 2 or 3 emails, we would have had everything done. But for some reason, this person has to meet face to face, and it's going to take an hour, and 30 minutes of that hour is not going to be anything to do with productivity. And all of a sudden you get that email or that phone call and the meeting gets canceled. Oh, buddy. Talk about a surprising joy. I love that. 1 hour boring meeting gets canceled. Number 8, you get nothing but positive comments on your social media posts. So, there's a lot of these joyless souls out there that no matter what you post, no matter what anybody posts, you find these same people on everybody's accounts. There's always somebody that's got something negative or stupid or smart ass to say. But every now and then you do that one post that you think, hey, this is really a cool, fun social media post, and more people like it or comment on it than you're expecting, and every one of the comments is positive. That's a cool surprise that can brighten your day. Number 9, a good friend calls you out of the blue and asks you to meet for lunch. That's always pretty cool, especially for me because Denise no longer gets lunch. And I don't like eating at home for lunch because it's really about the only time I get out of my studio. So I eat out for lunch every day just to get out of the office. So I usually end up eating by myself, which is okay. I mean, I do not mind it at all, but it's always a nice change of pace when somebody calls and says, hey, want to meet me for lunch? And double bonus, what's really cool is when they pay. Yeah, that's really cool. They ask you to lunch and they pay. You get free lunch. I mean, what could be better than that? A double whammy there. Number 10, you're going through a drive-through. Maybe you're just ordering a drink, or you're ordering a donut and a drink, and you pull up and they say, hey, buddy, the person in front of you paid for your order. Bam. Bright day right there. Feeling lucky, feeling inspired. Question is, are you going to pay it forward? Are you going to pay for the person behind you or not? I don't go through that many drive-throughs, especially for like drinks like that. So I rarely have anybody pay for I've had it though. But I don't really like the idea of paying it forward because it kind of negates the excitement and the surprise of somebody paying for your order. I mean, if somebody's paying for your order, you should just drive off and not owe anything. And that's the surprise, the brightness. And then maybe come back the next day or the next week and pay for somebody's order behind you. But if you immediately pay for somebody after somebody just pays for yours, then did they really pay for yours? Not really, because you're paying for the person behind you. So, I don't know. Just a thought there, but that's always cool when somebody does pay for your stuff. Number 11, I am a reality show fanatic. Probably, the shows that I don't miss. Number one fan of Survivor, Big Brother, American Idol, those type of shows. And so when you're watching those shows, there's people on there that you like and you root for. And then there's people on there that you don't, it's not that you don't like them. It's just that you would rather them be kicked off the show. And that's always a surprise, bonus, good feeling when you're watching your favorite reality show and the person you want kicked off finally, after 20 tries, finally gets kicked off. And then in your mind, they are not going to win the whole show. That's always pretty cool. Number 12, you get an email saying that something you ordered is arriving today. That's pretty cool. Back in the day, we used to order stuff and it just showed up when it showed up. You had no clue. Then I think it got to the point where you could pay to track it. And so for extra money, you could but I don't know that was even if you paid, it seems like sometimes it might be wrong. Nowadays, I mean, they keep you in the loop the entire time. And so when you get that email, bing, your order, it's going to be there between 10 and 5 today. You're like, yes, how cool is that? And extra bonus on that one. So a lot of times they'll say your package is going to arrive between, like, let's say 4 and 8 o'clock. And for some weird reason at our house, it's almost always at 8 o'clock. Almost always. Double bonus is when you get an email saying your package is going to arrive between 4 and 8, and it shows up at 4. Oh, baby. Yes. Okay. Number 13. You guys ever use a restaurant app that gives you, special deals and points? It's always cool when you open up your restaurant app and you're at the point level where you get a free meal. I eat so much at McAllister's, I probably get a free entree probably every 3 weeks, I would think. So it's always cool. And then I have the tea pass. So some days I go in and I get my sandwich and my tea. I basically don't pay for anything. The whole meal's free. Cool. Okay. Number 14. I just love it when this happens. One of my favorite things in the whole world. You go to a restaurant, you order at the window, they give you your bag of food, you drive away from the window, nobody behind you, so you pause for a second, you stick your hand in the bag, you grab a French fry, and that baby is steaming hot. Oh, one of the joys of life right there. Hot, steaming French fries. Then you kind of can eat them on the way home, and hopefully, if you hit every green light, super bonus, you get home before they get cold. That's always cool. Number 15, you wake up, you walk outside, the sun is shining, the sky is blue, and the temperature is just perfect. It's almost like when there's no temperature. It's like you walk out and it doesn't feel cool and it doesn't feel warm. It just doesn't feel anything. It is. No wind, maybe a super duper soft breeze, but you just walk out and it's sunshine and it just is. I love those days. Always know I'm going to have a good day when I wake up and it's one of those days. Now, here's something that not a whole lot of people are going to understand, but one of the surprising joys of life is when the weather is like I just described, and you have a setup where you can take the top off of your Jeep. There's really not, driving-wise, there's not a whole lot of things better than either having a Jeep with the top off or driving a convertible. If you've never driven a convertible or a Jeep with the top off, you listen to people talking about riding motorcycles. It's kind of that same kind of feeling. Now, riding a motorcycle is, I'm sure, way better, but it's just neat, especially, again, when the temperature is perfect and not too much wind. It's just perfect. So for me, because I own a Jeep. Number 17, something you manifested appears out of nowhere. So if you don't manifest, that it's not going to mean anything to you. But if you're somebody like me that likes to manifest, sometimes I forget. Sometimes I'll go a week or two and I won't be thinking about it. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, I haven't manifested anything in a while. And I mean, as crazy it sounds, is I'll say, I'll think to myself and I'll manifest, hey, this week I'm going to receive a surprising large amount of money that I'm not expecting. And, bam, I'll have somebody call up and say, hey, I want to do this and pay you $1,200. And you're like, yes. So it's always a surprising, super good day when something you've manifested actually transpires. Number 18, this is always cool, is if you got a favorite podcast and, not like a crime podcast, but like a self-help, health, a podcast, kind of like, not exactly like this one, but just a podcast. It's always cool when you're listening to a podcast and the episode that you're listening to is specifically talking directly to you. It's like going to church, and I mean this could replace either one of these. You go to church and the sermon, it's like the minister knew exactly what's happening to you, and he wrote a sermon just for you. And so sometimes you're listening to a podcast and that episode it just answers every question you've had about something, or it's talking directly about what you need to do to improve your life or to make things like, well, I guess like this episode. Let's say maybe you've been feeling a little depressed or a little down, or you're like, there's nothing to look forward to, or where's the joy in life? And then all of a sudden you listen to this podcast and all of a sudden here I've got this list of, I mean, these aren't hard. These are just things that happen. These aren't things you have to spend money on or you have to really create. These are just random surprise, cool things. But if you don't notice them or somebody doesn't talk about them, you're probably not paying attention to them, and you're not thinking in your mind that these are signals for you to have a bright or a good day. So listening to this podcast, let's say you're a little bit down, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, yeah, yesterday I got into my car and my favorite song was on the radio. And at the time you didn't think about it, but now all of a sudden I've got this podcast episode and it's telling you should have made that a great day because that was a signal that you were supposed to have a great day. So it's always cool to listen to a podcast and the episode really talks to you. That's going to be a surprisingly good day. Number 19, your morning drink turns out perfect. I am a tea drinker, so my tea always turns out perfect because I always make it exactly the same, which is the reason I make it a lot of the times is because I make it exactly the same. But every now and then, if you get a tea or coffee, somewhere else, sometimes you'll get it and it'll be a little on the weak side. And then sometimes you get it, it'll be a little on the strong side. Sometimes it'll have a little too much ice. Sometimes it'll have just not enough ice. So, it's going to be a bright day when you get your drink and it's perfect. The strength is perfect. The ice liquid combination is perfect. The temperature of it is perfect. It's just all perfect. That leads to a bright day. Number 20. Now, this has happened to me several times. In the winter months, when I go out on the trail, there are a couple of months in there where it is so dark when I leave at 6. And by the time I get to the trail, I mean, it's pitch black and there's stars everywhere. And so sometimes because the trail is so flat and so straight, you don't necessarily have to look, and you can't, it's dark anyway. I can look up at the stars, for like 5 minutes straight and not have to really look at where I'm going. I know exactly where I'm going. And it's cool when you look up to see the stars, and just as you look up, you catch a falling star. You see one shooting across the sky. I've seen a lot of them, but every now and then you'll catch like a green one that's like super bright and slow and green. Talk about knowing that's a sign you're going to have a good day. Always a sign of a good day. And then sometimes even when you go out at night, you want to go out, well, during a meteor storm, it's always cool to go out, and as soon as you park and look up, the first thing you see is a meteor shooting across the sky. Timing is always cool on that. Number 21, you get a compliment from a stranger. That's always cool. The other day we went over to Tulsa, and I had on a shirt, an OU type shirt and shorts, and these they're almost dressy looking sneakers. Anyway, I was just standing outside on the sidewalk waiting on Denise, and this guy came by, and he was, fairly well dressed, and he walks by and he looks at me and he says, "Hey, I really like your outfit," and just kept on going. And I'm like, yeah. So getting a unexpected compliment from a stranger. And so, another reason for doing this list is if some of these sound really cool to you, think about doing them yourself, like giving a stranger a compliment. Like go for a week and give a stranger a compliment every day for 7 days in a row and see how cool that is. But that's always cool to get one from a stranger. Number 22, it's always kind of a surprise joy feel. What am I trying to? Surprising joys that brighten your day. I kind of forgot the theme there for a sec. A surprising joy for me is driving down the street that I grew up on. And as I'm driving down, I look to my right and to my left to see all of my best friends' houses. Of course, none of them live there anymore, but the houses are there, the yards are there. I'm noticing a lot of the trees are now gone, but it's just cool, and it gives me it brightens my day to drive down my old street and see my old buddies' houses. So that's always cool. Number 23, waking up and remembering a really great dream. Man, I am on a streak. I don't know what has caused it, but every morning when I wake up, I remember my dream. Not every detail, and it goes away quick, but I know that I remembered it every morning. It's like every morning. And I don't remember that happening. I don't know. It's like sometimes I get really giddy and excited that I get to go to bed because I know I'm going to be having some really cool dreams when I wake up. It's really, really wild. But when you do, sometimes you have those dreams where it just seems so real, and you remember tons of details. Now there's some that, like right now, I'm thinking, I remember that one. I remember exactly specific details, but that's always kind of a cool surprise joy when you wake up and you do remember some of those details on those dreams. Number 24, when you're sitting on your porch, sitting in your studio, and you see fireflies outside your window. Now this really, at our old house, it was called the Woodlands. So it was really wooded over there. And at my old studio, I would leave my door open, but I didn't have a screen on it because it was like an office in a garage. And so my office door went into the garage, and then I kept the garage door open. So it was kind of like the outside wasn't like right there, so it kind of kept some of the bugs out. But I just remember sitting there working, and then every now and then you'd see a firefly zip by, and every time I did, I'd always quit whatever I was doing, go out into the yard, and just sit there and watch the fireflies all over the place. Really cool. Reminds me of being a kid. Brightens my day. Number 25, you get to your desk and it's completely clean and perfectly arranged. So, if you keep your desk really tidy, or let's say it was really messy and one day you decide to clean it up and you kind of forget, and then you show up the next day and you see it perfectly arranged and cleaned, and you're like, oh yeah, I cleaned it, I arranged it. It's a super cool joy that might surprise you. Number 26, someone replaces something you thought was about to run out. So, like, let's say you want to make tea and you're thinking in your mind, oh man, there was only 3 bottles of water left and I need 5 to make my tea. So when I get inside, I'm not going to have enough water to make my tea. So I'm going to have to go without tea for the afternoon. But you get inside and somebody has brought in a whole new pack of water bottles. Yes. Or one of your favorite snacks, that maybe you ate the last one or you were about to eat the last one, and you're wondering if there's going to be one more when you go into your food pantry and you go in there and somebody's bought a whole new box. Always a great feeling, always a surprise joy. Number 27, watching your dog stick his head out the window of your vehicle. So Graham really enjoys going on rides with me to get food. So we're in a pretty steady routine where he knows that I feed him, and then we all sit around and try to decide what we want to eat, and then we decide on something, and then I go pick it up. Well, I pretty much take him every time because I'm usually just going through a drive-through. And so every time we get to these certain streets, and I don't know what it is, but he'll stick his head out the Jeep and just his ears are flopping and the hair on his face is pushed back. And I don't know, just one of those little surprise joys that kind of brightens your day. Number 28, you're driving and you catch the perfect sunrise or sunset. Now, of course, I see the perfect sunrise every morning because I go out on the trail, and that's specifically why I go where I go and what time I go, is so when I'm out on my walk, I'll get to see the sunrise every morning of the year. But every now and then you go on vacation or you have to go on a trip, or sunsets are completely different for me because I'm not always out during sunset. So it's always cool, like when you go on a trip and you're coming back into town at the end of your trip and it's dusk, and then the sun goes down and the clouds in Oklahoma come out and it's pink and red and orange and yellow, and you're just driving into it, and it's mesmerizing, and it just really brightens your day. Really cool, especially here in Oklahoma. Number 29, your pet lays in your lap and goes to sleep. So Mr. Saucy Pants, Graham, every now and then he'll be out here. He'll have slept for 2 hours or something, and then every now and then he hops up here, puts his paws up on my leg, and does this thing like that. And so I pick him up and put him on my lap, and I mean, like almost immediately he just plops down and goes to sleep. So that's always cool. It's always a fun surprise when he does that. It's always cool to have your pet laying in your lap. Number 30, you get to help a turtle across the street. There are some people that literally pull over to the side of the road and will get out of their car and help a turtle across the road. I'm a huge fan of turtles. Now, I see them on the trail, and I'll usually move them, pick them up from the trail and go put them in the wheat field or something, just in case, there's some guy on a bike or something that might run over them. But that's always a good feeling. I mean, it's kind of a cool surprise. Seeing anything, out on the trail. The other day I saw 2 beavers, which I had never seen before. One day I saw a porcupine. The other morning, for 3 mornings in a row, I saw a fox. And then the 4th morning, the fox was gone, but there was a coyote. So seeing surprise animals out on the trail is kind of a cool sign, kind of a, hey, you're going to have a good day. Anyway, I take that. I'm always looking for good signs, good vibes. So, number 31, most of you won't have, I doubt very many of you will have experienced this, and this really happened mostly at the old studio in the Woodlands because I left the garage door open and my office door open. Now, I also not only, did I, feed the squirrels and, let them come into my studio, and I would feed them sunflower seeds out of my hand. I would let these Carolina wrens build nests inside our garage. And when I would notice that they were building the nests, when I would put the garage door down at night, I would stop it. So it was like 6 inches before it touched the concrete. And that way it gave them, I mean, they're little birds. It gave them enough room to go in and out, overnight. Or if I was going to be gone for a couple hours during the day, it would allow them to get in and out of the garage. And so because of that, they were a little bit comfortable with me. And so one of the cool, fun, surprising things is every now and then they would come into my office. They would just come jumping in. Sometimes they would fly in and they would just land on something and look around and stare at me, and then they'd fly out, or I'd have to kind of help them fly out. But I don't know. That's always kind of a cool sign, is when a bird comes into your office. And, it's not like they were, tearing everything up or anything. They just kind of flew in to see what was going on, I guess. Number 32, you don't know what to watch. You can't find anything on streaming on all those pay channels. You're paying $8,000 a month for all these movie channels, and there's not squat on. And you just happen to click it over to your cable provider on regular TV, and right there, one of your favorite movies, Twister, just started. And you literally just sit there and watch the whole darn thing for the 58th time. It's always a good feeling. It's always a surprising joy to find one of your favorite movies on regular TV. You're not even paying for this, the extra movie or whatever. It's just part of regular TV. Number 33. Okay, so number 33, I eat at, I've done an episode where I talk about eating at McAllister's, and this is nothing against McAllister, so if you guys are listening, don't take this wrong. But, when you're making a whole bunch of sandwiches and you got a lot of orders, you do things really fast. And I've noticed that probably 70% of the time I get a sandwich, it's like all of either the chicken or the ham or the chicken salad is all bunched up in like one area. And so it's always a surprising joy when you get a sandwich and all of the sandwich meat is spread out evenly. All of the cheese is spread out evenly. All of the condiments. And so, when you bite, every bite of that sandwich is going to have the same amount of everything in it. And so a lot of times what I do is I take the sandwich apart and put it back together so it's all evened out. But it's cool when it comes out already all even. So anyway, just one of those little surprising joys that I like. Hang on. Okay, that was number. Oh, somebody pointed out that I do that a lot. Basically, I'm filling the void of silence. So, Dave, if you're listening, I do that to fill the silence void so there's not just silence. Because sometimes I'm looking for something, and again, rather than just going silent and you guys are wondering, oh, did the episode quit? I do the da-da-da-da-da-da, which means I'm looking for something. So number 34 is your steak is cooked to the exact temperature you ordered. That's always cool. I mean, when it's exact. I mean, the inside looks exactly like you imagined it. It tastes exactly like you imagined it. The temperature is exactly as you imagined it. That means you're going to have a great day. That's a surprising joy because, a lot of times it's hit or miss on steaks. Number 35, the ice in your drink is soft and crunchy. Now this kind of means for like a restaurant or somewhere that you haven't like been before, because for me, I'll go to a lot of places and get a tea specifically because they have pellet ice, the ice that I really like. Unfortunately, Callahan's is one of those restaurants that does not have what I call good ice. They've got the hard, crunchy ice, which is fine, but it's always fun to like be out of town, or like we went to Disney World last year and a half ago, and we were at Disney Springs, and there was a Starbucks there. Well, when you get an iced tea at Starbucks, normally it's got the hard, crunchy ice. Well, this Starbucks had pellet ice, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, you talk about a surprising joy. I'm sweating it out. It's hot. I need some iced tea. In my mind, I'm craving some soft pellet ice, but I know I can't get any. I order a drink at Starbucks. Bam, pellet ice, soft, crunchy ice. And what I found out was supposedly they were supposed to be rolling that out at all of the Starbucks, where certain drinks came with the soft ice and then other drinks like the coffees came with the hard ice. I don't know if that's true because I don't usually get any drinks at Starbucks, so I don't know if that's actually true or not. Number 36, always a cool, surprising joy is when you sit outside on the porch on a warm summer night, unplanned. It's like you have friends over, or you go see a friend and you guys just end up outside on the porch on a warm summer night, and you can see the stars, or can hear kids playing over in the grass under the street light. It's just one of those cool, surprising joys that isn't really expected. Sometimes it just happens. Number 37, the smell of fresh cut grass while you're out on a walk. It's always an unexpected, because you never know who in the neighborhood is going to be mowing their grass. But man, it's so cool when the perfect summer day, maybe it's not super hot, but maybe it's like in the low 80s, and somebody's out there mowing their lawn, and you just, for like half a block, you get to smell it. Always brightens my day. Love the smell of fresh cut grass. Number 38, getting a rubber duck left on your Jeep. Again, that's one of those Jeep things. And so if you don't know, us Jeep owners duck each other. And so if you like somebody's Jeep, either you like the way it looks or the graphics on it or something, a lot of us carry around our own different styles of rubber ducks, and a lot of times the rubber duck will have a message with a rubber band or something on it telling you, that you've been ducked and why, or who it's from. And so it's always fun to find a surprise on your Jeep when you come out sometimes. Unexpected surprise that'll brighten your day is to have a ladybug or a butterfly land on you. That's always pretty cool. Number 40, working in your office with the door open when it rains. And so it just happened the other day. Again, we're kind of in this period where it's definitely warm enough to open the door and window, and cool enough that, sometimes I even turn on the air conditioning and leave the door open because I've got a mini split. But the other day it was storming outside and it was raining, and it's just really cool to be in here in your studio working when you can hear the raindrops and smell the fresh rain. So that's always a cool, surprising joy that makes you know you're going to have a bright day. Number 41, looking at the clock. Now, this is a lot of times like a digital clock. You look at the clock, like right now. Oh, too funny. Right now it is 10 22. I can't believe it. Surprising joy when you look at the clock and the minute numbers are your favorite number or your lucky number. Of course, you guys know, if you know me, my lucky number is 22. It is 10:22 exactly. What are the odds of that? Okay, right there. Bam. Yes. Woo. Bright day. There's other good things that happened today. Today's been a freaking good day. But right there, it's still 10:22. That's pretty cool. So it's always fun when you look at the clock. And for me, it's either something 02, something 20, or something 22. And it was 10:22. That is so cool. That's too funny that right now, 45:22, the clock on this recording was, the show, it was 45 minutes and 22 seconds long. Bam, 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 bam. You guys, you got to manifest it. You got to think about it. You got to notice this stuff. It's happening, and you guys aren't even noticing. You guys get busy. Start noticing this stuff. Okay, now let's see. Number 42. This is always really cool when you smile at somebody, especially somebody you don't know, and they smile back. It's kind of like, you have a good day. And they're saying, no, you have a good day. And you don't even say anything. That's very cool. It'll brighten your day. Number 43, getting into a bed with fresh, warm sheets. Now, for me, this is more of a winter thing. I don't want to get in bed with warm sheets in the summer, but it's nice to get into a bed in the summer with cool, fresh sheets. That's one of those surprising joys that just every now and then it just hits just right, where you're like, yes. Here's one that some people may not experience, but it seems like every time I go to Disney World, I will find some point where I will just stop and I will just look around, take a deep breath, and I'll say to myself, I'm here. I am here. I mean, sometimes you just got to stop and remember, don't rely on the memories or the pictures. Try to remember why you're there. Try to soak in what it feels like and smells like, and what the vibe is, what the background noises are, and just stop, just stop and I just notice, and I just say to myself, wow, I'm here. So I don't know, brings a kind of a cool little surprise joy. I always think it's going to be a great day. It's always cool when I go to the donut shop. I've got 4 specific donuts that I like to get. And it's always cool to go to the donut shop and for them to have at least one of each of my 4 favorite donuts. So I don't have to get any substitutes or anything like that. It's just the ones that I want. That's always a good sign. It's always kind of a cool surprise sign when you walk past somebody and they have a fragrance or a smell that reminds you of somebody that you miss, or somebody like a relative that may be passed away. So that's always kind of a cool surprising joy. Number 47, watching kids play in the grass until it's dusk. I guess the older I get, the more I think that's pretty cool. I mean, even driving down the street and seeing 2 or 3 boys running down an alley or riding bikes or riding skateboards, it just brings me a surprising joy that I think, wow, that's pretty cool, because it reminds me of what we did when we were kids. Number 48, going through an old photo album you haven't seen in years. That's actually pretty cool. And, it's really cool when you leave photo albums alone for a while, and then like you're looking through a box and one will pop up and you'll be like, I haven't looked through this in a while. It's just really cool looking through an old photo album you haven't seen in a long time. Number 49, having a bird's nest right outside your window. Over here on our bedroom, we usually have at least 1 or 2, for some reason, bird nests are built right outside of the door. So a lot of times during spring, I can just pull back the shade and I can see the birds building the nest. Then I can see the mom laying on the eggs, and then I can see the babies after they're born, and I can hear them chirping and all that. That's always kind of a surprising joy. And the last one, number 50 for all you guys. This is one of my faves. It's seeing a rainbow anywhere, anytime. Anytime you see a rainbow, that's a good, surprising joy. It means you're going to have a great day. It means good things are happening. And so I have gotten good enough at knowing the conditions in Oklahoma that cause rainbows. And so I can be here in my studio and hear and watch a thunderstorm go by and then feel, kind of get that feeling. And then I look, and then all of a sudden I see sunshine, and I'm like, oh man, there's got to be a rainbow somewhere. So I'll run out. I'll literally run out. Sometimes I'll have to go out to the front of the house and I'll look around, and I'll usually find the rainbow. So that's pretty cool. So there's my list of 50. I probably could have done, 50 more. Don't want to bore you guys, but I think it's just one of those deals where we all need to pay more attention to these surprising joys that happen to us every day that we're not really paying attention to. And then once you start paying attention to them and bring more attention to them, and then think in your mind, associate in your mind positivity and a better day with them, it's just going to make your day better. Just the fact that you think it's going to make your day better, when in reality, it is going to make your day better. So, so hopefully there's a lot of those that maybe happen to you every now and then, and you just haven't really thought about it. You just think, oh, well, that happens to me all the time, but I never thought about it. Well, start thinking about these things in positive ways. Think about them, that maybe some of these things happen because you manifest them. Think that maybe it's a sign. There's different times that I've tried to manifest a sign, and one of these things happen, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh wow, I asked for a sign, and this is it. And if you're not paying attention, you're not seeing all that. So anyway, you guys let me know. Curtis at curtistucker.com, Shags at shaggyduck.com. Any that I've left off the list that are your favorite surprising joys that brighten your day. Anything specific that, is more specific to you and nobody else, let me know. You guys, again, you can text me at 580-977-9947. Go to curtistucker.com. This will be on the blog there. At the bottom of the blog, I will embed the video. I'm waving to you guys there, and then also embed the audio from the podcast. And then if you guys will send me your surprising joys, I will add those to the list, and maybe here within a couple of weeks or months, we'll have a list of 100. So I'd appreciate that. So great to hear from you guys. Everybody have a great day. Let me look at the clock. Hang on. No, it wasn't. But how cool was that it was 22 right when I looked? Okay, I'm going to get out of here. See you guys.